Steve here. Well, today I am building a tool. I got myself into a tight spot, and what I mean by that is I'm working on my brother's 69 Bronco, and there's a couple spots that are just really tight to get in there and sand. And you know, they don't make a specific sanding block for every situation in the world. So sometimes you got to manufacture your own tool. And many of you probably know exactly what I mean. Going, yes, I've had to build my own tool for this or that, and there's nothing wrong with that. So what I'm going to do here is, first of all, before I get into the nuts and bolts and, you know, my secret design, let me show you where I'm a little tight on. Now I know that I could probably take a paint stick, something, sit there and sand, you know, hold up a chunk of sandpaper, get in there and sand that. But, you know, that's pretty unfun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build myself a little block here out of steel. I'm going to put a handle on it, you know, that's going to kind of come up like a curling handle. So you just got something, you just basically need something to hold on to. I'm going to put Velcro on there, and then I can put my my sandpaper on, whatever grid I want. So that's the whole idea. Now, what I would really like would be to have a chunk of like 1 1/4. That'd be the best, but I've only got 1 1/2 in the shop, so I'm going to use that. And that should just make it a little bit easier to get in here and sand this. Now, if it was narrower than this, then I'd just build it at a 1 inch, but I got 1 1/2, so let's put a handle on that. Now, the sandpaper I use, give you a bit of a close-up here, is about 5 3/8 when I have 2 pieces. Mine comes in 2 pieces. Some of it comes in a roll where you just cut it, but the stuff I buy is it's perforated, so I can just rip that off. So I just need a little chunk about that long. I'm not going any longer than that. Situation calls for, you know, this is an area that doesn't have to be perfect. And then, like I mentioned, I'm going to make it kind of a, I don't know, like a curling handle. So I've got to take this, I think this is 3/8. Yep. I'll take a chunk of this 3/8 and bend it up somehow. Maybe what I'll do is I'll draw something out and then I can measure it. That's a good idea. Let's do that. So this is our base. What I want to do is you want to make sure you got a handle that you can kind of hold on to. So I need to be about, well, at least, let's measure that, 2 1/2 inches. I think that's going to be suffice. You know, especially if you're wearing gloves and stuff. We can always change it anytime we want. So if I do that, I don't want to go straight up. I want to have it so that my hand can, you know, you're holding on to it so you can put even pressure on this part. And I know that makes complete sense. I just come up maybe and a little bit straighter here. It's easier just to do a bend and a bend, right? Okay, let me show you what I do to measure that now. I've had this piece of wire for measuring for 40 years, at least. I've never used it for anything other than this. I used to make wine racks, you know, and I draw something out so that you just use the wire and kind of go all the way around. And you can make it a little bit bigger than what you really want to and then cut it, but if you do it right the last time, then you don't have to worry about that. So, I need some 3/8 stuff about, we'll go 8 inches. It's about 7 3/4, but we'll go 8. Yep. That'll work out good. Okay. That'll go back on the hook. See, it's already in my way. Go 8 inches. Cut that off. Just going to clean up these edges here a little bit, and I'm going to weld on somewhere in here, so I want to take the slag off. Okay, let me go check the blueprint, see where I'm at with the angle. Yeah, I got it right on the money there. So, that's the next bend. Just got to make sure that everything's nice and straight. Pretty close. I'll go check it. It's pretty good. Now sometimes, you know, when you're pounding, you get it just a little crooked here. I'm just going to put that back in here like this. Let's pound that over. Perfect. Okay, so that's going to be the handle. We'll round that over, of course. Let's go weld her on. So initially I wanted it up a little further, but I think I'm going to come back a little bit because this has got to feel, you know, ergonomically right in your hand. So we're going to weld her on right there. Trying to get it as straight as I can here. Tack her in. About there. Okay, make sure that that's all good. Oh boy, that is nice and straight. Alright. You know what? I think that's going to work. Just going to finish welding that up now. I made a decision. Good. We'll let that cool. Well, it's kind of winter time out here, so I'm going to go out in the snow and cool that off, and then go to the next step. Next step, I'm going to put some velcro on the bottom here. I got it cleaned up. I just hit it with my grinder, just in case there was. I wanted to make sure it was perfectly flat. You don't want to be building a sanding block with a, you know, a little dingle ball on there or something like that, because that's going to ruin things. So we'll just take and cut some of this velcro here. And I've got just a 3/4 inch. If I was buying the velcro again, I think I would probably go like with 1.5, because it's easier just to trim it down than to make 2 pieces. But sometimes you're not thinking when you're on the computer. So then, just like that. Just like that. I like it. You know, it's the cool factor, right? All right, let me get some sandpaper. Now what I'm trying to do is use up as much, you know, every time you do a job, when you're doing a big panel, it's nice to have some really nice fresh sandpaper, but then you don't, then you change it out. You've always got these little pieces laying around, so that's exactly what this is all about. Using up some of these scraps here as well. Just go like that. This happens to be 40 grit. There you got her. A little sanding block. Let's go give it a try. Alright, I'm just going to sit down for this one so I'm not in the way. Okay, that's working pretty darn good. What I might do is just bend this just slightly down a little bit more, just to make it a little ergonomically better. You know, I've got it down a little bit, but I think it could come down just a tiny bit more. I'm gonna go to the vise, I'll be right back, and we'll give it another try. I didn't go too far, but the reason I wanted to build this like this, so that my hands are clearing this. Yeah, I like it. Patent pending. Well, there you have it. My little sanding block. And you know what? It's gonna serve my purpose. And I've got my hand clearance and all that kind of stuff, so now that I can just get in there, get in the tight corners, I've got a sharp edge on either side, so if I have to do, you know, get in there, and it's gotta be fairly close to 90. This one here's got a little bit of a radius, but you know, it'll still work. And if it does, what you can do, if you've got sandpaper that is a little bit more flexible, like an 80 grit, you can actually bring your Velcro over top like this, so that you can bring your paper up and then bring it across like that. And then this only works if you're going to be doing a bit of a radius, an inside radius. But if you're going to be doing something that's fairly straight, then just keep it straight on the one side. If that makes any sense. But yeah, it's a cool tool, and I'm going to put it to use in about 2 minutes, as soon as I hang up. Anyway, till next time, thanks for watching. Stay tuned.